Once you've reached the end of your project, you may be wondering, how do I get this off of my needles? Well, that is through a process called binding off. So a bound off edge looks similar to a cable cast on edge. Almost looks like a knit row going the opposite direction of your stitches perpendicular here. It's just these little V's that are going to run across the top of your work. And then you're left with a tail at the end of the work similar to the tail that you began with. To bind off, you want to knit the first stitch. Then you want to knit the second stitch. And then you're going to use your left needle to lift this first stitch up and over the second one you made. So now you only have one stitch on your right needle. Then you're going to knit the next stitch off of the left needle, and again lift this stitch over this one. And as you're doing this, you're binding off each stitch in the row. So we're going to knit this stitch, lift this first one over that one, and bind off that stitch. You can start to see these V's forming. And you just continue that all the way down the row, knitting one, lifting the stitch before it up over it, knitting one, passing this over again, continuing on all the way down the row. And when you reach the end, you will be left with simply one stitch left on your right needle. Then you want to cut your bind off tail, again about 8 inches, the same length that you started with the tail at the beginning with your slip knot. And then you're just going to pull that end of that tail through your last loop, tug it to close, and now you have your bound off edge.